We are counting down the 7 wealthiest black families in Atlanta, the dynasties whose influence stretches from funeral homes to billion-dollar construction empires. These are not just celebrity fortunes, but families who own the businesses, land, and institutions that power the Black Mecca. Some built Atlanta's skyline, others transformed beauty and real estate, all generating staggering generational wealth. Which family rules at number 1? Let us begin with number 7. Number 7, the Levett family. The business of dignity. Gregory B. Levett Sr. and his wife Betty opened their first funeral home in Scottdale, Georgia in 1980. The Levett name soon became synonymous with dignity and trust, serving families at the most vulnerable moments of their lives. What began as a facility of 5,000 square feet has grown into a network of 4 locations across metro Atlanta. Their flagship chapel in Gwinnett County spans 12,000 square feet, offering amenities that rival luxury hotels. Each year, nearly 2,200 families turn to the Levetts for end-of-life services, making their enterprise one of the largest Black-owned funeral businesses in the South. The Levett fleet, featuring Rolls-Royce cars and Cadillacs, signals a commitment to premium service. But their influence extends well beyond business. Over the decades, the family has donated more than $1 million to local charities and medical centers. DeKalb Medical Center even named a reception area after them, a testament to their deep roots in the community. The Levetts have overseen homegoing celebrations for some of Atlanta's most prominent Black leaders, quietly anchoring the city's traditions through generations. In an industry often overlooked, the Levetts built an engine of steady recurring revenue, proof that stability and service can yield generational wealth. Their story is not just about funerals, it is about building an institution that families depend on year after year in a city where trust is everything. Mack Wilbourn's empire does not stretch across dozens of locations or rely on flashy branding. Instead, his wealth flows through the corridors of Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport, where more than 100 million passengers pass every year. Inside this global crossroads, Wilbourn operates Popeyes and Checkers franchises that have rewritten the rules of airport business. His 2 Popeyes units are not just busy, they are the number 1 and the number 2 highest grossing Popeyes in the world, year after year. With every arriving flight and every layover, thousands of travelers funnel into his restaurants, creating a steady surge of transactions unmatched by street-level chains. Wilbourn's journey began in 1971 when he became one of Atlanta's first Black McDonald's franchisees. That foothold in fast food was rare for a Black entrepreneur at the time, but Wilbourn saw a bigger opportunity: the captive audience of the world's busiest airport. By securing prime concession leases, he turned limited real estate into a revenue engine, capturing the spending power of millions who have no other dining options between flights. His Midtown home, spanning 5,600 square feet and valued at over $1.2 million, offers a glimpse of the rewards. But the real measure of Wilbourn's influence is access, hosting President Barack Obama under his roof, moving in circles where business and politics converge. In an industry dominated by volume and location, Wilbourn's strategy is simple and relentless: control the flow, own the audience, and let the numbers do the talking. In 1947, Dr. Nathaniel Bronner and his brother Arthur launched a venture that would become a cornerstone of Black entrepreneurship in Atlanta. The Bronner Brothers company started with hair care but quickly grew into a force that shaped an entire industry. Their annual International Beauty Show, held at the Georgia World Congress Center, pulls in crowds that rival major sporting events, up to 70,000 stylists, barbers, and beauty professionals from across the globe. For Atlanta, the show is more than a spectacle. It is an economic powerhouse, generating $60 million in a single weekend. The Bronner family reach goes far beyond the convention floor. Under Bernard Bronner's leadership, the company controls a portfolio of hair and skin care brands, including BB African Royale and Tropical Roots. These products fill store shelves nationwide and are exported around the world, making the Bronners one of the largest Black-owned beauty manufacturers in the United States. They do not just make the products, they own the platforms that set the trends. Upscale magazine, published by the family, shapes conversations about style, culture, and success in Black America, reinforcing their influence across media and retail. Every part of the business is connected. The beauty show is not just a trade event. It is a marketplace for their products, a stage for their educators, and a launchpad for new brands. This vertical integration, controlling manufacturing, distribution, events, and media, means the Bronners do not just participate in the industry, they define it. Offers from corporate giants to buy them out have come and gone, but the family has kept ownership close, determined to pass the business down through generations. Their story is one of scale and self-determination, building an ecosystem where Black wealth is not only created, but sustained and multiplied. Egbert Perry stands at the intersection of vision and policy, quietly shaping the physical and economic landscape of Atlanta and far beyond. As chairman and CEO of Integral Group, Perry did not just build developments, he reimagined what urban communities could be. In the 1990s, his team took on the site of Techwood Homes, the country's first public housing project, and created Centennial Place. The result was a mixed-income neighborhood where subsidized units, affordable rentals, and market-rate homes existed side by side. It was not just about new buildings, it was about dismantling the old model of concentrated poverty and replacing it with opportunity. Schools, childcare centers, and retail spaces became part of daily life, not afterthoughts. Centennial Place became a blueprint, studied and copied in cities across America. Federal housing officials looked to Atlanta's experiment as proof that public-private partnerships could bridge divides that concrete alone never could. He joined the board of Fannie Mae after the 2008 housing crisis. He rose to chairman in 2014 and served until the end of 2018. In that role, he helped steer the nation's largest mortgage lender through turbulent years, influencing how trillions in housing capital flowed across the country. Integral Group's portfolio now stretches across 14 markets, with more than $1 billion in development and investment under Perry's watch. Master-planned communities, transit-oriented developments, and affordable housing projects dot the map, each one carrying the DNA of Centennial Place's integrated approach. In Doraville, Perry is leading the transformation of the former General Motors assembly plant, a 165-acre site once defined by industrial decline, into a new urban center. Perry rarely seeks attention, preferring boardrooms to headlines. Yet the neighborhoods, policies, and skylines that bear his imprint tell the story. His influence reaches from the streets of Atlanta to the corridors of federal power, proving that real wealth is not just measured in dollars, but in the ability to redefine what is possible for generations to come. Herman J. Russell began his career as a plasterer in 1952, laying the foundation for what would become H.J. Russell and Company, one of the largest Black-owned construction and real estate firms in the United States. Over the next 70 years, the Russell family shaped Atlanta's skyline, turning contracts into concrete and steel. Their company built the Coca-Cola headquarters, the Georgia Dome, Turner Field, and helped expand Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. These are not just buildings, they are the physical backbone of Atlanta's economy. Leadership passed to the next generation, with Michael Russell serving as Chief Executive Officer and H. Jerome Russell serving as President. Donata Russell Ross expanded the family's reach through Concessions International, operating food and beverage services in airports across the country. Jerome Russell dedicated a 50,000 square foot building, the Russell Innovation Center for Entrepreneurs, to serve as a launch pad for Black business owners. It is the largest center of its kind in the country, designed to nurture startups, provide mentorship, and circulate opportunity within the community. The Russell estate itself carries a legacy. It once hosted Martin Luther King Jr. at its 50-foot pool during the Civil Rights era, a symbol of quiet influence in a time of loud struggle. Today, the family's name is etched into city contracts and community programs alike, a testament to decades of strategic growth and civic responsibility. By controlling the contracts that built Atlanta's landmarks and by seeding the next generation of entrepreneurs, the Russell family transformed their company into an institution. Their wealth is not measured only in dollars, but in the walls that surround Atlanta's power and in the doors they have opened for others to follow. Rick Ross did not just buy a mansion, he claimed an entire kingdom. In 2014, Ross paid $5.8 million for the former Evander Holyfield estate in Fayetteville, Georgia. The property spans 235 acres, making it the largest private home in the state. The main house alone covers 54,000 square feet with 109 rooms. Behind the house sits a 350,000-gallon pool, the largest residential pool in America, stretching longer than a city block. Ross turned the estate into more than a showpiece. Each year, thousands of fans pay to attend the Rick Ross Car and Bike Show, filling the grounds with a parade of custom vehicles and music. The event transforms the Promised Land into a revenue engine, with ticket sales, vendor fees, and sponsorships all flowing back to the owner. Inside the garages, more than 100 classic cars gleam under museum-like lights, everything from vintage Chevrolets to rare European imports, each a trophy of entertainment turned asset. Ross's expansion has not stopped at the original gates. He recently added another 87 acres for $4 million, extending his control over the surrounding land. The business moves run deeper than real estate. He owns roughly 25 Wingstop franchises, along with Checkers and Rally's restaurants, building a steady stream of cash that does not depend on album sales or touring. These franchises stretch across the Southeast, each one a node in a network that generates income year-round. The Promised Land is not just a home, it is a brand, a business, and a statement. Ross has turned celebrity into concrete assets, using his platform to create events, build partnerships, and draw crowds to his doorstep. He is known for cutting his own grass, a gesture that grounds the spectacle in discipline and pride. In a city built on legacy and land, Ross stands as proof that modern celebrity can be leveraged into lasting wealth. His empire sits just below the apex, where entertainment power transforms into generational assets, setting the stage for the ultimate example of Black ownership and media sovereignty. Tyler Perry's name stands alone at the summit of Atlanta's Black dynasties, not just for his fame, but for the scope of what he owns. In 2015, Perry closed on 330 acres just southwest of downtown, purchasing the decommissioned Fort McPherson Army Base for $30 million. Over the next 4 years, Perry poured more than $250 million into transforming that land into Tyler Perry Studios, a production campus larger than Warner Brothers, Paramount, and Sony combined. The scale is staggering: 12 sound stages, each named for a Black icon: Sidney Poitier, Oprah Winfrey, Denzel Washington, plus backlots, a replica White House, and city streets built for blockbuster films. Marvel, AMC's The Walking Dead, and dozens of major productions now rent space here, generating jobs and revenue that ripple through Atlanta's economy. But Perry's true power comes from what happens after the cameras stop rolling. He owns every script, every show, every film, 100% of the intellectual property, from the earliest Medea plays to the latest Netflix deals. While Hollywood studios split profits and answer to shareholders, Perry licenses his work to networks and streaming giants on his own terms, collecting hundreds of millions of dollars in licensing fees while retaining all rights. It is a rare position in entertainment: total creative and financial control with no middlemen. This model, vertical integration from content creation to distribution to infrastructure, has made Perry a Forbes estimated billionaire with a net worth between $1.2 and $1.4 billion. His real estate holdings stretch even further. He sold his 17-acre Buckhead estate for $15 million, then began building a new home near his studio, complete with a private runway for his jet. He owns White Bay Cay, a private island in the Bahamas, and a Beverly Hills mansion that once sheltered Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Each property is more than a trophy. It is a node in a network of assets that spans continents and industries. The journey began in Atlanta, where Perry once slept in his car, staging plays in small theaters and relying on local audiences to keep his dream alive. Decades later, he has built a fortress of ownership, land, studios, content, and brand, anchored in the city that gave him his start. Perry Studios do not just make movies, they employ thousands, draw productions from around the world, and keep creative capital circulating in Atlanta. He is the only African American to own a major motion picture studio outright, and the only one to control every step from script to screen. Perry's rise is the ultimate expression of the Black Mecca ideal, not just participating in an industry, but owning the means of production, the land it sits on, and the stories themselves. In a city defined by dynasties that built infrastructure, commerce, and culture, Perry has engineered a new kind of sovereignty, one where Black wealth is not borrowed or inherited, but built, protected, and multiplied. His empire is both a destination and a blueprint, showing what is possible when ownership is the goal and Atlanta is the foundation. Across all 7 dynasties, one pattern stands out: institutional ownership. These families don't just earn wealth, they engineer entire ecosystems, controlling land, industry, and opportunity. Their legacy proves Atlanta's Black Mecca is built on generational stewardship, not celebrity. In this city, Black wealth isn't fleeting, it is foundational. Drop your thoughts below and join the conversation.